In the heart of a remote village surrounded by ancient forests and misty mountains, Ravi lived a simple life as a stone carver. For years, he had sculpted lifelike statues of gods and mythological creatures, his chisel carving out divine beings from the lifeless rock. His creations were renowned across the land, yet despite the admiration, none of his works ever fulfilled him. Ravi's art had become a mere reflection of his unspoken yearning for something more, something beyond the stone, something alive. One evening, as Ravi ventured into the forest in search of the perfect stone, he came across an unusual sight. Beneath the ancient banyan tree, a statue of a beautiful woman stood, glowing faintly under the moon's light. Her features were delicate and graceful, but there was something off about her, an otherworldly presence, a subtle hint of magic. Ravi approached the statue, tracing his fingers along the smooth stone, mesmerized by her beauty. Little did he know, the statue was no mere work of art, it was the cursed form of Lyra, a wild fairy trapped in stone by an ancient deity. By day, she was bound to the statue, frozen in time, but at night, when the moonlight kissed her stone form, she came to life. Her fairy form, vibrant and free, would dance in the moonlit clearing, her laughter ringing out like a song carried by the wind. Ravi, unable to forget the image of the stone fairy, returned every day, staring at her in wonder, feeling an inexplicable connection. He could not shake the feeling that there was more to this stone than mere beauty. He knew something had to be done, this enchantment was no ordinary curse, and the fairy in the statue had to be freed. Driven by a passion he had never felt before, Ravi set to work on a new sculpture. He began carving a likeness of Lyra, determined to bring her to life again. As his chisel struck the stone, he poured his heart and soul into the creation, believing that by recreating her, he could unlock the curse that bound her. The village whispered about his obsession with the statue, but Ravi paid no heed. Night after night, he worked tirelessly, his hands aching but his determination unyielding. And then, one night, the magic that had always eluded him happened. As the moonlight bathed the stone statue in a silver glow, Lyra's spirit stirred. Her form began to shimmer, the magic binding her to the stone breaking apart. In an ethereal dance, she sprang to life, her wings fluttering in the night air, her laughter filling the clearing. Ravi, witnessing the transformation, could hardly believe his eyes. She was real, alive, beautiful, and wild as the winds that blew through the forest. Lyra, he whispered, his voice barely audible in the cool night air. The fairy turned to face him, her eyes shimmering with an unspoken understanding. She smiled, her voice like a melody carried by the wind. "Thank you for setting me free, stone carver. But my freedom comes at a price." Ravi felt a pull towards her, an undeniable connection that deepened with every passing night. As they spent more time together, dancing under the moon, talking about the secrets of the forest, and sharing dreams of a world beyond the curse, Ravi's love for Lyra grew. He realized that she was not just a fairy from legends, she was a wild spirit, untamed and pure, and in her presence, he felt more alive than he ever had while carving stone. But as the days passed, Lyra began to reveal the truth of her curse. "I was cursed by an ancient deity," she explained, her voice soft but heavy with the weight of her fate. "I am bound to the stone during the day and only come to life at night. The curse can only be broken if the one who freed me, if you, give up the one thing you love most." Ravi's heart ached. He had spent his whole life carving stone, shaping it with his hands, creating beauty that lived forever. His craft had been his everything, his identity. The thought of giving it up was unbearable. Lyra's gaze softened as she stepped closer to him. "I do not wish to hurt you, Ravi. But I cannot be free unless you make the sacrifice. You have unlocked the curse with your love, but your craft, your art, is the key to my freedom." Ravi stood at a crossroads, torn between his love for Lyra and the art that had been his life's work. Every day, he had poured his soul into his carvings, shaping stone into gods and creatures, each piece a reflection of his deepest desires. But now, before him stood the wild fairy he had brought to life, the woman he had come to love, the woman who might never truly be free unless he gave up his passion. The choice was clear, but it was not easy. To truly break the curse, Ravi would have to give up the thing he had built his life around, his stone, his craft, his art. But Lyra, with her wild spirit and free heart, had awakened something in him. Something deeper than his love for stone, a love for life, for freedom, for her. In a final, heart-wrenching decision, Ravi made the sacrifice. He buried his tools deep in the earth and walked away from his craft, not because he no longer loved it, but because he had found something more important, Lyra. As he stepped into the moonlit forest with her by his side, the curse was broken, and Lyra was free. Ravi and Lyra walked through the forest, hand in hand, no longer bound by the stone or the curse. The winds whispered their love, the trees swayed in joy, and the moonlight danced around them. Together, they created a new world, not one shaped by stone, but one full of life, love, and freedom. In the quiet village, no more stone statues stood in Ravi's workshop. Instead, there was laughter, music, and the soft glow of moonlight. Ravi and Lyra, once bound by fate, now lived as two souls free to explore the wild beauty of the world, together.